How's it going, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing our MLB The Show 19 ratings predictions for our top 10 left fielders in the league. As far as ratings are concerned, always got to keep that in mind. Ratings can affect guys a little bit more because of their fielding stats, their speed, so on and so forth. But we're going to be doing our top 10 left fielders today. Coming in at number 10 is Justin Upton. 30 bombs, 87 RBIs last season. At 257 average, it's not glamorous, but he has the history before this year to kind of give him that little bit of a reputation. You know how LCS does. They do 3 years previous when they're deciding these overalls. And he does have some solid years before him before that. So I do think that does help him out, and that does keep him just barely in this top 10 at an 80 overall. Number 9 is David Peralta. If I can click on the right screen here, there's the screen we're looking for. 30 home runs, 87 RBIs, a 293 average last season. For the second straight season, he batted 293, and it seems like Peralta started to figure things out, and he's developing into a pretty solid left fielder. Michael Brantley. For the first time in 3 years, I didn't take Michael Brantley on my fantasy team, and all I can say is, you're welcome, Indians fans, because for the first time in 3 years, he actually played baseball. Interesting, right? Baseball player played baseball, but that's been Brantley's problem over the last few years. He's been riddled with injuries. Even this year, he only played 140 games, but that's a lot for Brantley. Needless to say, though, when he's healthy, he's a stud. 17 home runs this year, 76 RBIs, batting around 309. But once again, one of the problems for him, and he would be higher on the list, is those power numbers don't have any reason to get a boost, and that's going to kind of hurt him. If he could start hitting 30 home runs, I could see this guy easily moving up this list pretty substantially. Marcell Ozuna, 23 home runs, 88 RBIs, a 280 batting average, and that's down from the year before. And it is more along Ozuna's career average. And now, 2017 may be looking more and more like a possible outlier year when he hit those 37 home runs, batted 312. I have to give Ozuna a -1 on his overall after what he did in 2017 going into 2018. That is why we're going to drop him from the 82 he started with last year to the 81 this year. Juan Soto. We're going to see a lot of young guys cracking this list. He is one of them. Made his big league debut last season. He batted 292, he had a 406 on base percentage, hit 22 bombs, and man, let me tell you what, I like this guy. It's one thing when you see these guys, we've seen it very, very often now. These guys come up to the majors, they hit like 20 home runs, they hit 10 home runs in 1 month. Oh, this guy's the next Stanton or whatever, right? But when you see these guys go out there and do this and then hit for average and then have a 406 on base percentage, knowing he's got that plate discipline too at the age of 20. I think he's 20 now, right? I'd say 19 right here. He's got a date of birth on here. No, he wasn't born in the MLB, I guess, but he did have an age at least, so he's got that going for him. And no player card. He's going to get that upgrade next year, though. He's going to get that 81 overall, and he's going to get a nice new card. Number 5 is Khris Davis. Maybe a surprise player to be on this list, but I have to give him a spot. I don't think you can get more consistent than Khris Davis can when it comes to being at the plate. This guy, no lie, in the last 4 seasons has batted 247 on the dot every season past 4 years. Now, granted, as impressive as that isn't really an ideal batting average by any means, but he's still as good as anyone when it comes to hitting that baseball over the fence. 48 home runs last season, 42 plus home runs over the last 3 seasons, every single season. That power has to be reflected in these ratings as far as I'm concerned. And he is one of those guys that does seem to get the cold shoulder quite often from SDS. But like I said, how do you ignore it? How do you ignore those power stats? I think they have to give him the power stats. We'll see if he gets them or not, but I'm saying Khris Davis at the 82. Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald came bursting into the big leagues last season in his very first season in the league. Only playing 2/3 of the season, but still putting up 26 home runs, 64 RBIs, and a 293 batting average. Throw that 366 on base percentage in there if you'd like to as well. Not bad either. It's a small sample size, but that usually does benefit these younger guys to an extent, having these small sample sizes. And the fact that he was on pace to hit 40 home runs if he played all season, that has to be taken into effect, I think. And for that, we see a very balanced stat line right now for Acuna, but we'll see what happens. I think we could see a little bit higher in the power department, but I'm not sure if SDS will do that right now, so we're just going to keep everything pretty balanced. Number 3 is Yoenis Cespedes, and you guys know I am not a fan of downgrading players that never play, and Cespedes has been plagued with injury after injury ever since joining the Mets, and again, it's looking like he's not going to play till the All-Star break again this year at the earliest, but I look at the way he's played in his career. He's only hit 30 home runs twice in his career. He's never batted 300. He doesn't walk a lot. Honestly, I didn't really agree with the 84 overall in the first place that he had last year. And to think, the main reason he did have that high overall and the main reason he sees these higher overalls year after year after year is because he is an extraordinary defensive player, and you always see them really high defensive stats that kind of boost his overall up for him. But I do wonder if SDS is going to look at this and say, look, this guy's coming back with 2 reconstructed heels. How well is he going to be in the field? I think he's got to prove it to us before we give him them big stats again in the fielding department. And that is going to cause his overall to drop 1 point, I think, from an 84 to an 83. Giancarlo Stanton. Stan is a prime example of how low of overalls players get when they start off the season each year for MLB The Show. And you really shouldn't fret that they have a low overall. Just look at relative compared to every player's overalls in general. Because he was the top rated left fielder to start MLB The Show 18. He had 59 home runs. He won the MVP, and he still only had an 85 overall. This year, his numbers regressed. Only 38 home runs. Yeah, I know, only 30. Can you believe it? Terrible, ain't it? 38 home runs. But he did strike out 211 times. Seen that average dip down to 266, and logically, it makes sense for his overall to go down, but I don't imagine anything happening. He's still known as one of the most prolific home run hitters in the league. You still have to give him the power numbers, and I guess I'm going to keep him at an 85. I feel like he did not deserve an 85 overall or a downgrade from an 85 overall in my opinion. We'll see what happens though. It's possible. Number 1 is JD Martinez. I couldn't be any happier seeing Sony finally showing JD some love at the end of last season with that 95 overall. He's been straight dynamite for the last 3 years and does something we very rarely see in baseball these days, and that's hit 40 plus home runs and bat over 300. In the last 2 years alone, Martinez has 88 home runs, 234 RBIs, and a 315 batting average. It'll be interesting to see what position he does land on because he is currently slotted as the Boston Red Sox DH on their depth chart, and he did play left field and right field about equally last year, so we'll see what happens there. I'm assuming left field for JD Martinez, and I'm assuming an 88 overall right now. I feel like he has some upside though. Like I said, if they put him on DH and he starts there, SDS might not like that too much, so we'll see what happens there. We've seen some very talented guys on the DH not get those really high overalls. That's kind of where I am a little bit concerned with JD Martinez, but I feel like if they keep him out in the field, or if they move him around, do some maneuvering, or if they just don't lower his stats in general, we'll be all right there. 88 overall for JD Martinez. That is our top 10 left fielders, though, for MLB The Show 19. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.